Hey, happy Sunday, Beat Baseball World here on this Labor Day weekend. But of course, TBBS never takes time off. No vacation for us, but it is just me, Neil DAWG. Seth Bam Bam Clark is missing in action, but it's all good because I got a big fun crew from the Northeast here to join us. From the Cleveland Scrappers, we have Antonio Dobyne, we've got Christian Keely, and we've got our defensive MVP, Stan the Man Griffin. Good Sunday, though. I almost said good morning to you guys. It's still morning time, but you guys are already in the afternoon. What's happening,
Yeah.
fellas?
What's going on? How you doing, Neil?
Doing
What's
good,
happening,
man.
Neil?
Just
How's it going?
going through it, man. I gotta say thank you to you, Antonio, that helping me get this going. But thank you to all three of you for taking time out on your Sunday to come and do a show with us. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
You know that whenever somebody's on for the first time, we like to kind of get a little bit of background before we're gonna talk about your scrappers and the great season you guys had this year. But I would like for everybody to have a chance to get to know you guys a little bit. I don't know who's been on the scrappers the shortest amount of time. I'm gonna guess you, Antonio, or
That would be Antonio. That would be me.
Boy,
uh,
Antonio.
all right. I'm gonna start with you then, Antonio. Man, what's your story? How'd you end up blind? How'd you end up in our beat baseball world?
Well, I have a retinitis pigmentosa,
All right.
so I am legally blind, of course. But I Beepball through, and it was back in he tried to give me the original play back in 2015, and I decided to join the Greater Cleveland Blind Bowlers, the bowling league, and he
No,
won
dude.
them off like, yeah, whatever. Not Then one day he's like he wanted me to go somewhere with him, and I ended up taking a ride with him on the bus, and we go to beat ball practice, and he was like, "I want you to try this sport out. You could probably be good at it." So I was like, "All right, fine." I was already there, so you know, he started me off with putting a blindfold on. He was like, "Look around. I want you to see that there's nothing but space and opportunity. There's no way for you to hurt yourself." So I was comfortable, and he started just tossing the ball back and forth, me and him. You I would pick the ball up and throw it back. He was like, "You got your blindfold on?" I'm like, "Yeah." So
Thought you were cheating?
yeah, he thought I was cheating. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, well, you actually getting the ball? I'm surprised." And he was like, "We did that for about 5 minutes or so, just tossing the ball back and forth." And he was like, "Let's see what you can do at the plate." So they was asking me questions. If I ever played ball before baseball. They was like, "Just do your regular thing." So uh, get a pitch come to me, missed it. The first two pitches I missed it, and the third pitch come in and pow. And I was just standing there just with this big old smile on my face like I did something. And then Wilbur was like, "Well, it was a good hit, but you didn't run." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "I forgot that's part of the game." So um, did another pitch. I hit that, ran and hit the base. And from there I was hooked, man. And 2 weeks later, we were in Indianapolis on a tournament, man. And my first team I had to play was the Thunder.
Oh man.
And Garrett tore me up out there at center field. I couldn't get anything. Like they were just crushing it. But I didn't get discouraged. I stayed in the game, stayed playing. And second team I faced was the San Antonio Jets. Kevin Simpson. And same damn thing Jared did, which was seems like they were just every ball was coming straight at me, and I just kept missing and missing and missing. The
We lost his audio a little bit.
Until then, I was hooked after that, man. And then I went to my first World Series in Eau Claire in 2018. Yeah. Now they
Oh,
gonna
that
have to
was your
wheel me up
first.
again.
I know Jared's pretty good at it, but Kevin Simpson, in my opinion, there's nobody in the history of our game that's better at that. I know he's retired now, but there's nobody who's ever been better at placing the ball anywhere they want to on the field than Kevin Simpson. And I'm not surprised at all that he saw a rookie out there and
Oh
went.
yeah.
And he treated me. Him and Jared treated me as such, as if I was a rookie.
Your audio cut out a little bit. Yeah, it's been with us most of the time. But at the beginning, I didn't hear you say who that was that took you to your first practice.
Wilbert Turner,
Ah, Big Wilbur. Yeah,
big,
my dude.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Nice. But you had no idea where you were going? He just
No,
took you?
yeah, because we were at we were doing self defense training to become coaches. And after the training, he was like, "What you about to do?" And I was like, "Go home and do nothing, pretty much." And he was like, "Well, I want you to take a ride with me." And I was like, "All right, cool." I never asked until we got on the bus. Once we was on the bus, it wasn't no turning around. He's like, "Oh, we going to beatball practice, baby." And I'm like, "Oh, finally got me." Like there was no way getting out of it. So, and I'm glad that moment led up to that. So now I will be playing this sport hopefully for as long as Wilbur Turner.
I don't know if any of us can play as long as Wilbur. Yeah, Wilbur's like 70 now, right? Am I tripping?
Yep. He'll be 71 in December.
Nah, he was around before me, and that dude is still around. That's amazing. I'm glad I got a chance to see him at the tournament. Well, that's very cool. Who's the second shortest on the scrappers? Are next to
Yep.
Antonio? Who's been around second shortest?
Of the three of us, that would be Stan the
I
man
think
here.
that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
right. Well, we'll keep going in that progression then, Mr. Stanley. Stan first, because I know you like when you reached out to me, you introduce yourself as Stan. Do you prefer going by Stan? Because I know you're always listed as Stan Lee. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I like to go by Stan.
Okay,
Um, I'm a junior. My dad is Stan senior. He's always
okay.
Stanley. So
Oh, I got you. All right, all right. I'll go with Stan. So what's your story, man? How'd you end up blind? How'd you end up playing beat ball and becoming this defensive monster that you are?
uh, well, I lost my vision at a pretty young age. I was born with Libers. Uh and so um I had a little bit of vision uh early on. And as I got older, by the time I was like 9 or 10 or so, probably, um, I had no vision. But I was always interested in being some type of active, some type of athletic something.
Right, right, right.
When I was in high school, I wrestled.
Okay.
Uh, and so that once that was over, I'm like, what am I gonna do now? And when I started going to Cleveland State University, I met Jeff Dell,
Okay.
and so he was the first one that mentioned beat ball, and he I kind of blew him off, kind of like Antonio did with
Yeah,
Wilbur.
Wilbur.
I really didn't pay him no mind. This was probably around 2007 or eight. Um, so I didn't really pay it. Beat ball, okay, cool. And a couple of years went by, um, and I started working at the Cleveland Site Center, and I ran into Wilbur Turner there, and he was quite insistent on uh, me going to this beat ball practice. In fact, he engaged some of my other coworkers, and like, made sure that when I left work that day, I came to beatball practice. They took me. They say I heard you're gonna go to practice today. I'll be glad to drop you off. And I'm like, I, I didn't say I was going, but when I got there, um, it I got there. They put me out in the field. They hit me some balls, and I got the thrill of being able to run freely and chase down these balls. And I'm like, okay, this might be something. And I didn't I didn't start. I started in like I think I started in deep. um,
Yeah, well, when people are there for the first time, we're not gonna throw you up front. You gotta earn
so
that. You gotta
so
earn that.
but I guess I did. I guess I did okay, well enough. Um, you know, I think I'm trying to remember where my first tournament was.
I
I
was just
think it
gonna
was
ask that.
Indiana. I think it was
Oh,
Indiana.
2011?
I
All right.
believe so. Yep.
Okay.
And that was my first tournament, and ever since
You're
then I
talking
was
you're
hooked.
talking World Series though, right? Yeah, in Indiana, not you
Yes,
talk
yes,
yeah. So
that's where it
2011.
was. That it was in Indiana that year, right?
In 2011 it was, yes.
Yeah, that was my first
Okay.
World Series.
Okay.
That was my first World Series. I heard. So and I man, that was that talking about an intro to beatball. So from that point, you know, I was in. I was in to
Yeah,
win it.
yeah, yeah. Very nice. All right, Mr. Keely, let's get your story.
All right. Well, as a sidebar on that one, I'm glad Wilbur was as persistent as he was because I also, in a small way, was gonna try to get Stanley to join the team, but because he and I were going to Cleveland State, and me and him go back to middle school, not high
Oh, okay.
school, but middle school. I remember Stanley. He could have fooled me with him being blind because I would try to like prank him and then hide, but he kept finding me, and I was like, man, he can see me. I don't know, care what nobody says, but as far as the beat ball thing, I was like, okay, well, hopefully somebody gets to him because I'm like, he looks like he can play. So, and as you can see, the rest is history, with all the defensive MVP trophies and medals. So, as far as myself, I got introduced. Well, I first seen the sport without knowing what it was at the Cleveland Site Center's Highbrook Lodge camp. Back when I was in, I want to say high school. But it wasn't like a demo or anything. They basically just had the buzzing bases and they had like a tee ball, batting tee that you would hit off of.
Right.
And then, they didn't make anybody wear a blindfold, but that was kind of my first introduction to it. And then when I got to college, I met Jeff Dell because I was working with him in the Cleveland State computer lab for students with disabilities,
All
and he
right.
had told me, about the sport, and I was like, okay, is it like this? When I saw this at Hybrid License, no, that's nothing like baseball. You're gonna, you'll be surprised when you first get a taste of it. And at that time, the season had already been over because this was the fall semester at Cleveland State in 2007, like my first semester there. So they had already finished the season. So I had just, gotten that time to go to some of the little team events, meet some of the other players, like Wilbert and Pretzel Bill at the time, and then Willie Rue, all the guys at that time. And then the following year in '08 was when I first got to start going to practices and go to games. So after I was already kind of knew I wanted to do it before I even started practicing, just because of the team environment that I got to feel for before even I got to practice. So Of
So
course, yeah.
they didn't have to trick you or force you against your will
Oh
like
no, I
these
was,
other guys.
'cause I was real green at the time, and you'll have to get Jeff around one of these days to talk about my first year because I hadn't been anywhere as a 18-year-old. I hadn't been out of the state. I hadn't been in a hotel. I hadn't been anywhere. So they, you know, I won't say rookie hazing, but definitely a lot of practical jokes that we have a lot of good stories about. But yeah, so the first couple of years, I know we had at that time the Columbus Vipers were still around,
Right.
and they came down and did like an exhibition game with us, and oh my goodness. I was still learning. Bert was still teaching me how to play defense, but all the balls kept rolling through my legs and everything. I had to get the hang of how to actually do that. And that first year we went to Houston. Well, the first and last time because we haven't been back there since for a World Series. But that was
So
the first
that
World Series tournament I went to.
that had to have been '08, right?
Yeah, oh wait, yep.
All right. So I was still playing when you started. I played through '09 was my last year playing.
Ah, okay.
So
Oh, I see.
you're the only one in the group. But
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
it goes that far back for you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what's your like story with your vision loss? Have you always like did you grow up with?
Uh, so I have what do they call it? Congenital nystagmus. So,
Oh, that's a new one for me.
my is basically my eyes move, uncontrollably. I'm nearsighted, so the glasses definitely help to see from a distance, but that I was born with that. So, fortunately, it's not gonna, lead to it's not gonna deteriorate, but it's not also not gonna improve. So the glasses only help so much.
Right.
So people who aren't visually impaired will see me with glasses and think that that takes me to 2020. I'm like, no, I was never there to begin with. So um, they only basically help to see what a regular person could see from a much further distance. So that's how my vision is. So I've always needed glasses, large print, textbooks, things of that nature. I have a little monocular I use to see like street signs and traffic lights whenever I'm out and about. So that's kind of how my vision is.
All right. Fair enough. Cool. Cool. Good to get some background on all you guys. So let's and this could be kind of a round table or whatever, everybody can join in. Let's talk about your Cleveland Scrappers. I'll be honest, like as part of the ranking committee, and even though that I felt like you guys like coming in as a 13 seed, um, like I didn't think you guys deserve to be lower than that. But I guess I also didn't see a road where I expected you guys to jump higher than that by a lot, and you guys did that, finishing eighth. What was kind of the magic behind you guys making your jump this year?
Well, one of the things I really wanted to say about that is a big thank you to Nathan, uh, because he brought something to our team. Being able to work with him last year and then for him to be able to come back again, I think that played a big part of it. Uh, so that was, I don't know about y'all, but I think that played a nice piece of what we did this season.
And just so the audience knows, you're talking about Nathan Wygand, the pitcher for you. I didn't. So last year is the first 2023. That was the first time I went to a World Series in like 14 years. And I didn't get there till like 2, 3 days were already in. Like Thursday morning was my first day out at the games. And the first game I went to was the game between you guys and the Sirens. And I came up playing against Nathan's dad, Rob Wygant, who's one of the best like outfielders that's ever played this game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, nah, that dude's so solid. But I was really impressed with Nathan last year when I saw
Dang.
him pitch against the Sirens because I thought he showed a lot of poise or whatever. But he wasn't supposed to be part of the team this year, right? That kind of changed midsummer. Do I have that right?
Yeah, he was supposed to start his career off, but things got backtracked a little bit. Tell us that he wanted to come back with us. And we welcome him with open arms as always and forever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He is the man.
I was telling him, hey man,
He's the man junior behind stage.
yeah,
No, I think it's a good fit for you guys. I mean, I played a bunch of games against Kevin Barrett, but you can't stay in this game pitching it forever or whatever. And I think Kevin's been ready to kind of move on for a while, but you got to have somebody to move on from, and it seems like
yeah,
Nathan's a great fit for you guys.
yeah. Hopefully he can. I know originally he was supposed to find something in as far as related to what he went to school for in Washington, DC, and I was like, man, somebody find him something here in Cleveland so he can stay with the team because it's like, yeah, it's Kevin's definitely been doing it for a while. I mean, I think he was the original pitcher back in when the team was getting founded. Kevin goes way back, so
Yeah.
it's definitely we'd like to keep Nathan around as long as we can.
No, it's kind of the case with every beat baseball team. As soon as you could latch on to a pitcher, you feel like you could build something with. I mean, they're almost more important than the blind players sometimes. As if having a beat ball team with no pitchers, like having a football team with no
No
quarterback.
quarter.
So,
You got the
yeah,
kicker or punter
And
throwing the ball for you.
I think the same that could be said about every volunteer that's involved in our sport. Don't know where our sport would be without our volunteers. So I would like to give a big thanks to every volunteer, not just for the Cleveland Scrappers.
Oh yeah, umpires, the spotters, the catchers, the people who help with, the scorekeeping. That's all essential. I mean, we the players, love to play, but we definitely need the sided volunteers to help our sport, do what it does.
yeah, yeah. No, it's one thing that I know we put a lot of emphasis on the pitching because again, if you don't have a good pitcher, the game's not going to be very good. Uh, but you guys make a really good point. Something I've always appreciated about beat baseball is how like sighted and blind like work together.
Right.
Like as teammates or whatever. It's very unique, I believe. Um, but I've always appreciated that. But I mean that old saying of it takes a village, like that really rings true with beepball. The sport just would not happen without the combination of everything we throw together for it. So last year, I believe was the 40th anniversary of the Cleveland Scrappers. They're one of the oldest franchises in our game. And the word I was getting, because last year was the first time in a few years that the Scrappers had returned to the World Series, and it seemed like it was just going to be like a one-time thing to honor the 40-year anniversary, but that doesn't seem like the case anymore. Or maybe I never had that right, so you guys could correct me on that. But you guys are going to keep this program going, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah,
We
definitely.
definitely the goal is every year to make the series, but some years the financial aspect of it plays a part of it. So
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so expensive now to travel and all that. So especially like because I was always putting together a team from California, and because the World Series is always like in Middle America, it was always more expensive for us to get to the World Series than the other teams, and I can't imagine what it would be like now. Just because travel's gotten so expensive or whatever. I don't envy the Panthers of Southern California and how much it
Oh,
cost and the challenges of getting to the World Series. But I'm proud of them for doing it. Kind of like Cleveland. Go ahead.
yeah,
What were you gonna say, Antonio?
No, I was just laughing at your comment that you made. That's all.
Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of California, we haven't had a series out there since 2009 when it was in Stockton, California.
right.
Uh, so I think it's about, well, I know next year we're also going to be in St. Charles again, but hopefully at some point we can go back out there because that's the last time I remember it being out west, which would have made it a lot more affordable for the California teams to be able to attend. We're kind of going side to side to give teams that may not be able to afford it otherwise an opportunity to make it out to the tournaments.
Well, and there is a good element of the MBBA that likes the opportunity to travel to a new place and see something different or whatever. But the tournament in California is always going to be it's just more expensive out here than
Oh yeah.
most places. So I don't know if we'll see it again. I had a lot to do with the tournament going to Stockton in '09,
Oh,
and
oh, I
and
didn't
I
know that. Hmm.
I had a lot to do with the tournament coming to Sacramento in '99, but if it ever comes here again, I don't expect to be any part of it. I'm not going to be my days in California are numbered, so
Oh,
it won't be me that brings it on.
Then we'll put
So
that responsibility on Seth then.
yeah, good luck with that one. Couldn't get Seth to show up for the show. He ain't gonna put on no World Series. So did I have it wrong? What it wasn't just me. It's the word that was going around last year. When people were saying that you guys were just showing up for the 40th anniversary, was that never accurate, or was that kind of the case at this time last year?
No,
uh,
that was never the case. We uh, ended up getting grants and everything. It just so happened that it was the 40th anniversary of the Scrappers, but no, that was not just the reason why we was going because of the 40th anniversary. We try to go every year for sure,
Yeah, yeah.
hands down.
All right, all right,
yeah, I'm
nice.
not sure how that. I didn't even heard of that rumor going around. At least none of when we went, I don't recall any players or teams bringing that
Right.
to us. It definitely wasn't like a swan song for us. I know in the years prior, we had challenges trying to get the whole team out due to finances. So a few of us, including myself, would assist other teams who might be short on players. Because we want to still get the experience. And and also for love of playing beat baseball. So, but yeah, definitely anytime we can get those funds together and make it out. The scrappers definitely want to be there every year.
Yeah, like speaking of you guys playing for other teams, I don't mean any disrespect, but that was when you, Christian, and you, Stan, actually got on my radar is you guys played with Tyler 2 years ago, and both of you had a really good year with you, Christian, making the offensive all tournament team and
Yeah.
Stan making it on defense. So that was when you guys really got like at that time, I didn't even realize that you guys were from Ohio, to be honest. So uh, obviously, I know that where you're from now and that you represent.
It was funny because when we did that, there were actually individuals who thought we were from Texas. They said,
Ah.
No, and I guess I was one of them. I was like, "Look at Tyler, man. They're building something here, man. They got something."
Oh, that was
Then
a
you
fun
guys
experience.
deserted him.
What?
I'm
No,
kidding.
no,
I'm
no, never,
kidding.
never that, never that.
it was no
Always love
desertion.
Tyler
Yeah, no,
Love
just
Yeah,
kidding.
Tyler.
we
Yeah.
Antonio, did you
to the
play with
reason
them
hope.
also?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah.
and
Antonio was there too.
I didn't perform as well as my as the squad did, but I definitely was with Tyler
All right. Was it just the three
also.
of you or some other scrappers?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
three
just
of
us
us.
three.
Three of us. All right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was my first medal in a World Series tournament. It was a pretty good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I could dig that. I dig that. I played for over 20 years, but I've only got like four total. So
Uh,
I don't know. I'm happy to have them. So I guess I know where you're coming from there or whatever.
yeah, well, those
It's
dog teams. I mean, especially when I got in the league, you guys were so good. It's you got a lot of players to compete against as far as getting those medals. So yeah.
yeah, right. That is a true statement, man.
Oh
The
yeah.
last couple years that I played, man, there's quite a few honors going around to the players, especially in offense. But you know that by then Tim Hibner was pitching to us, so things changed a little bit on offense when you get a Hall of Fame pitcher
Oh
throw,
yeah.
throwing the ball to you. Stanley, man. I'm sorry, Stan. Stan. Trying to get out of calling you Stanley. Stan, speaking of medals, you've been racking up a lot of them lately, and you really capped it off with a monstrous year this year. 68 putouts at the World Series, the defense MVP. That's the highest total that I'm familiar with in years, going back to the Ray Marshall days back in the late 80s. Like I know Eric Mazriegos, who I played with on the Dogs, got into the 50s a couple times, but I can't remember anybody outside of Ray Marshall going up into the 60s. I don't know. How'd that feel for you to rack up all those numbers? I know you've
Oh
been doing
man.
it a lot, but
Well, this was a really a season for me because I this is the first time I ever played and felt like I wasn't at full capacity. And because I was dealing with an ankle sprain that I had injured in before, like earlier in the season, and it was really starting to bother me by the middle of the week of the World Series. So for me, it was just like, man, I really hope that um, I'm able to perform and finish because this hurts. Um,
that
but
that makes sense to me now because when we first started texting and I congratulated you on the season, you're like, I'm just glad my body held up. And I actually before you joined us in Zoom, I was asking Antonio and Christian, it's like, how old is this dude? Why is he worried about his body holding up? And now now it makes a little more sense. You're playing with a bad wheel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was really self-conscious about that. And I was on they when we wrapped up the week and they were talking about my numbers and they wouldn't even tell me about it at first. they they were just so they were so excited and uh they were coming up to me like, damn Stan, like you really showed you like you did it this week. And I'm like, really? Well, what's it look like? Like, tell me something. No. Um, so I really didn't get to find out about it until minutes before the banquet. And
Oh
it was
wow.
just exciting. I was very excited. I was glad that I was able to to be a part of what my team did this season because I think uh this is one of the best seasons that we've had since I've been playing with us. So um, it was great.
Yeah, it's been years, at least going by memory. It's been years since the Scrappers made it into the top 10. That used to be kind of a regular thing back when I was, in my earlier playing days. Cleveland was always pretty solid during the 90s, but it's been a while. I don't know how far, but back we got to go. But it's been a minute since Cleveland finished in the top 10. So It's really and in a competitive field, there's this was a tough field to crack the top 10, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, the way that these
Competition.
they right, like these guys are playing, the way the game has evolved, and man, it's amazing. Uh, but it's some real competition out there, some great beatball players. So to be able to run with the top 10, I think let's scrap, baby. Let's keep it going.
Say that again, dog.
Yeah, even the
let's
games where we didn't win, we're still close. Years past since I've been on the team since '08, teams, that we would have normally maybe gotten 12 run were close with a point or two, as far as the margin. So this was definitely a great year for us as a team as far as showing our improvement offensively and defensively.
let's talk a little bit about going forward. What can Cleveland do to make another jump going forward?
Well, of course,
Um,
financially, we just gonna apply for grants and hope to get accepted for that, and we're gonna come back and do our thing and become even better,
one of my
accurate.
one of my personal goals is to just work on becoming a better offensive player. If if I can contribute more, I mean, uh, if I could do that, man, make that contribution to the scrappers, that I think that'll help us out a lot.
No, definitely. For it, and not, I'm not saying definitely if you get better, just in general, if every player kind of takes that attitude of wanting to just be able to contribute a little bit more going forward, it all adds up. It all
Definitely.
adds up.
I know me
Chris,
personally, I'll need to definitely get in better shape next season or this time around because having played this many games, normally we play about maybe 3 or 4 fewer games out of the whole week. So having that experience definitely tells you where you're at physically because it's like, oh my gosh, we got
yeah,
another
yeah.
three, we got 3 games. So me, I'm taking pain, what is it? Medication, anything I could take to make sure I could stay playing. Whereas, if you get in the best shape you can, it'll help with that endurance, being able to, stay on the field and play more games. And, some of those base runs, it's a game of inches and, seconds. So, a few of those games might, turn around the other way if you get a run here or there that you
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
didn't get before. So I think that's one way we or me personally can improve to help the scrappers out next year.
Yeah, no, that's you guys played 10 games and that takes so much out of your body. And
Oh, yeah.
I can only think of one tournament where I played that many games and my body was just beat to hell at the end of it. So, it's an eye opener, it's like, wow, if we're going to do this, I've got to, I've got to get my body ready.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't experienced that before. I felt like I was in a car wreck when I got back. And once all the adrenaline goes away and once the ibuprofen wears off, and then all that stuff that's been getting masked the whole week
Yeah,
hits you. I think it took a week just to start feeling regular. I was like limping around. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened?
yeah.
It's like, yeah, you definitely gotta get your body
Hey,
ready for that.
imagine how bad it would have been had we not been active during the off season, though. I think that's a big part of it too. It's like, what
Yeah.
I'm saying, just us being able to, shout out to Jeff for making sure we got together and had some kind of activity to keep us moving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, because that off season, it's easy to lose where you with the ground that you've gained. So uh, if we
And
can
that's doing that
continue to
low
do that,
ball.
yeah, continue to
That
do
low
that.
ball in the off season helped out everyone defensively, tremendously, which is why we took a big old step defensively this year. It was because we was doing gold ball and we was active during the off season and not just
Yeah.
waiting for the season to start and like, all right, let's go to work. We was working all year round last year.
Yeah, I don't
And
know if you knew about that, Neil, but that was something our coach Jeff had gotten going for us recently as far as being able to do goal ball practicing,
Hmm.
amongst ourselves as a team. So, as a way to help us improve defensively, like Antonio was saying, and
Yeah.
a way to stay in shape. So you're not just doing nothing for however many months it is between the season ending and the next season starting. You already got some momentum coming in where, your body's already kind of used to doing that stuff. So I think that, yeah, subconsciously, that definitely was a big help for a lot of us who were able to attend.
What, in Ohio, you guys can't go out and practice on fields during December, January? Is it too cold?
hell no. That'll
I
be
won't be there. I just won't do it.
uh,
32 degree.
probably it will
Oh,
be fun because there'll be no grass. It'll be snowball.
Yeah.
I'm not running in those. We can't have a winter World Series tournament. That's definitely not going to work.
Before we wind this whole thing down, as we're closing in on the top of the hour, I know we got to get Christian off to stuff. I've got a reader coming over and help go through some paperwork. But before we wind things down, you guys want to give any shout outs towards your team or tell us about, we talked about Nathan Wygan and, we've got the story of you three guys. We've been talking about your coach, Jeff Dell. Anybody else you guys want to give some love, shout out to, talk about?
Absolutely. We can't forget about Mike Dell, which is the heart of our team. Mike Dell does so much for the team. He travels 90 miles to and then another 90 miles from practice, twice a week. He's our driver, spotter. He'll catch. Mike's our do everything. Of course, we got to shout out our spotters, and Xavier and Jyshawn was the young bloods that we brought on as volunteers, and they helped out tremendously and helped keep our energy up and helped us stay positive. You know, always got to remember Kevin and Linda. You can't forget about the Barretts. Their contribution to the game is doesn't doesn't even have to be spoken for, but they're great and always helping out with the team. And even though she wasn't there, but Nurse Donna
Oh
plays a
yeah,
big
Nurse
part of
Donna.
our team.
Yeah.
uh,
Actually,
Shay, hey,
Donna is the one who hooked me up with you guys or got back to
Oh
me
yeah.
because
yeah,
I didn't have a contact for any of you, so I just wrote the Cleveland Scrappers Facebook page, and Donna's the one that got back to me. So give my own shout out to Donna. Thank you for hooking us all up.
there we go, Nurse Donna. Yeah, Denise, she was not able to make it to the series also, but she's our spotter and she plays a big part of our role too as well. So spotting out in right field for us. So
Okay. I was glad to hear you mention Mike Dell because when I spent most of my time playing against Cleveland like in the 90s, early 2000s, and Mike and Jeff Dell were a big part of the Scrappers then. But I that's the first time I've heard Mike's name. I've heard well I Jeff Dell sometimes is on like the rankings committee meetings and stuff. So I've heard Jeff around or whatever. I knew he was involved. I didn't know until now that Mike Dell was still involved. So I'm glad to hear that.
Oh yeah. The senior, his brother used to play too. The junior, the Mike Dill Jr.
Oh,
Um,
I never
so
knew there were I never knew there were two
yeah,
Mike Dells.
that's Jeff's older
Yep.
brother Mike, and oh my God, I've heard stories about him. He's really good, especially on offense. I mean, he had came to help us out one year when we did an exhibition game in Cleveland against one of our teams we played that helps the scrappers out. And even in that game, I saw him doing some stuff, and he hadn't played in over 10 years. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we talk him to come in the back and play for the scrapper? Like so, but yeah, his their father, Mike Dell Senior, he's been such a great help for the team throughout the years. So, he does so much for us. Like we could not do what we're doing without Mike. He's one of our greatest supporters, along with everyone else who Antonio had mentioned, our spotters, Nurse Donna, you know, Kevin, Nate, all the guys who really helped to make this thing go.
Right. Very
Stan,
cool.
if you ever want Chantel to beat on all of us, she best to get her shout out, dog.
Oh yeah.
She's a big part of the squad.
We really need her at a series. She's kind of like our second win
That's our
because
cheerleader.
if you're slacking, especially particularly me,
Ah,
she's gonna catch it and get on your case. So,
That's
yeah,
the
you
that's all right.
Energizer.
That's that scrapper spirit. She she really keeps us going.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, absolutely.
You got to have energy people on your roster. That's
Oh
something
yeah.
as part of the coaching staff on the Sirens. Even though I've known Kalari Jackson for over 20 years, we were teammates this year, and that's something I appreciate about her is always having kind of that upper high energy. That's something that Bam Bam and I were kind of responsible for with the dogs years ago is trying to keep that energy up and bringing energy. So you got to have people like that as
Oh yeah,
part of your team.
definitely. It's like
Very
It makes a
helpful.
difference. It really does.
yeah, when you get
Oh,
in that
Have,
definitely.
sixth
having that,
inning, you're
yeah,
tired. You're
you're
like, oh my
tired, you're down.
gosh, that person voice. So like, all right, I got to keep going. It's like you said, like that
Yeah,
second
yeah,
win to get you through.
Yeah, it could be the sixth inning of a third game in 105-degree
Oh
heat.
my
You
god.
know what I mean? So you definitely there's just a lot of peaks and valleys through a World Series like what our teams go through.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, fellas, I don't have anything else for you. Is there anything else before we sign out that you guys want to touch on? Anything that I didn't bring up you guys would like to bring up?
Just in case y'all didn't know, this is Stan the Man. My number is 66. Y'all know what I do.
Don't hit
And do it
me.
well.
That's right.
Playing you guys was tough because going into that game because it's part of the Sirens. I mean, we're leaning on a lot of like teenagers still who we're trying to develop and developing on offense to hit that 16-ounce ball is one of the most difficult parts of our game. So our offense is coming along pretty slow and going up against you guys with Stan playing shorts, like, man, how are we going to score a run
You
today?
better try to get it past them.
Yeah, no, so definitely, we know you're out there, Stan the Man.
Oh,
Even if they don't, I do. I
hey,
do.
don't want to
Any
hit it to third either because that's where I'm at.
any
We
fine
also
worlds? Oh,
um
go ahead.
we, next week we're also having a demonstration game against the University Circle Police Department here in Cleveland. It's a fundraiser we do every year. We have a GoFund at the
All right.
Cleveland Scrappers. A
No, cut out for a
demonstration with
second
the
there.
Not even for a second.
that's
He's
in October. How about now?
I mean, we
Yeah.
kind of got you now. But for everybody, you guys should go check out the Cleveland Scrappers on Facebook, like their page, follow them. I saw it up there, so I know that the information that Antonio is talking about is up there. I believe that's September 7th, right? That's coming up on
September
Yeah,
7th. Yes.
got
yep,
that date
September
right?
7th. Uh,
Yeah.
exhibition game against the Case Western Police Department.
All right.
And yep, there's a GoFundMe link up there. And we really hope for for a good turnout and we're gonna have some fun.
Oh yeah.
All right. Nice. Any final words from you, Christian?
Oh. Well, hey. Thanks for having us on, giving
Heck
us a
yeah.
chance to talk about the Cleveland Scrappers and share our team and support and our experience, and hopefully we'll get on here again sometime soon.
No, definitely. It was long overdue. I mean, we've been doing this show for over 4 years, and it's the first time the Scrappers have been on there, so that's my bad. But no, definitely. Especially Big Deuce over there, big supporter of the show or whatever. When I got out to the World Series last year, he was one of the first people to come over to me, give me some love for what we do here on the Beepball Blues show. So I gotta
Yeah,
take care of the people.
really shout out to him for that too, because he was a part of the reason why I start tuning in to the show. I knew it was out there, but I'm not a big social media person and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
but when he started to talk about it and tell me about some of the content, I had to go and check it out, and been listening to it ever since.
I appreciate that and appreciate you, Antonio. Thank you, my friend.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate you as well, man.
All right. All right, then, everybody. That is it for this one. Let these guys get out of here, go enjoy their day. But we will keep this show rolling as the off season goes on. We still got a lot more to cover. So stay with us. We will stay with it. And we will catch you all next time. Everybody be well until then.